Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into academic writing, specifically introductions and thesis statements.
Hi, Emma. This is often a challenging part for many students. What's our focus today?
Great question, Jake. We'll explore how to craft effective introductions and understand what a thesis statement is.
I see. So, why is it important to have a strong introduction in an essay?
Well, a strong introduction grabs the reader's attention and sets the tone for the entire essay.
Exactly. It gives the reader a glimpse of what to expect. Could you give us an example of a good introduction?
Sure. Imagine starting with a thought-provoking question or a surprising statistic. That really makes someone want to read more.
Right. So, how do we formulate a thesis statement after that?
The thesis statement outlines the main argument of your essay. It should be clear and concise, stating your position.
Got it. So, it's like the foundation of your entire essay, right?
Exactly. Let's take a closer look at how to structure it through our next section.
Sounds good. What's the structure we should focus on?
A typical structure includes presenting the topic, briefly examining its significance, and introducing your thesis statement.
So, for example, if I wanted to argue climate change is a serious issue, how would I start?
You could start by examining some shocking facts about climate change. Then, introduce your thesis that firmly states your argument.
Like this. Climate change is increasingly disrupting global ecosystems, illustrating the urgent need for immediate action.
Exactly. That's a strong thesis statement because it expresses a clear position and purpose.
Thanks, Emma. I think I understand. Can we do some practice dialogue on this topic?
Certainly. Let's start our first dialogue. I'll begin. Today, I want to explore how technology impacts education.
That's interesting. I'd argue that technology enriches the learning experience significantly.
Exactly. What aspects of technology do you think have the most impact?
Well, I would examine how digital resources allow students to access information quickly.
Absolutely. Access to information is crucial. It helps students explore diverse perspectives.
Right, and I also believe it encourages collaborative learning among students.
That's a good point. Collaborative tools can enhance teamwork and communication.
Exactly, especially in a global classroom. So, based on our discussion, what would be a thesis statement?
It could be, incorporating technology into education enhances learning by providing instant access to information and fostering collaboration.
That sounds solid. It clearly outlines your argument and gives a sense of scope, right?
Yes, the scope indicates what areas will be explored in the essay. You're catching on quickly.
Thank you. I feel more confident doing this. Now, can we discuss further examples of thesis statements?
Of course, let's examine different topics. How about health? What would you argue regarding healthy eating?
I would argue that healthy eating is essential for preventing chronic diseases.
Great. And how would you form your thesis statement?
I might say, adopting a balanced diet is crucial for preventing chronic diseases and promoting long-term health.
Perfect. That's a clear and specific thesis statement. Let's expand on it in our next dialogue.
Now that we've practiced, what's the next step?
Next, I want to clarify the importance of utilizing academic vocabulary in your essays.
What kind of vocabulary should we focus on?
We'll look at 5 key terms today. First is argue. Can you think of a sentence that uses argue?
I would say, many researchers argue that education is crucial for personal development.
Excellent example. Next is examine. Want to try using it?
Sure. In this essay, I will examine the effects of pollution on health.
Great job. Now let's say, explore, in a context.
All right. We will explore various solutions to reduce carbon emissions in our community.
Fantastic. Now for thesis statement. Can you give me a sentence?
Sure. The thesis statement of my essay focuses on the role of technology in modern life.
That's a solid sentence. And lastly, scope.
I would say, the scope of my research will include environmental, social, and economic aspects.
Perfect. You're really getting the hang of this. Now let's quickly review the vocabulary we covered.
Okay. First, we have argue. Can you give me 3 examples of it in sentences?
Sure. First, they argue that exercise can significantly improve mental health. Second, he will argue for more investment in public education. Lastly, critics argue that climate policies need more transparency.
Great examples. Next is examine, right?
Exactly. Here are 3 sentences. The scientist will examine the results of the latest study. This report examines the impact of social media on youth. We need to examine our approach to recycling.
Got it. And how about explore?
For explore, we can say, the researcher seeks to explore new treatment options. Students often explore different cultures through travel. Let's explore ways to improve our essay writing skills.
Perfect. Now what about thesis statement?
A few examples include, her thesis statement highlights the importance of renewable energy. In my essay, the thesis statement addresses socioeconomic inequalities. The thesis statement reflects the main argument of the paper.
And lastly, scope.
We can use scope in these sentences. The scope of our project is limited to urban areas. This study's scope includes both local and international perspectives. Understanding the scope of the issue is vital for effective solutions.
Awesome. Let's review what we've learned. What are some practice questions we can use?
Here are a few. 1. Why is a strong introduction important? 2. What does a thesis statement do? 3. How can we argue our point effectively in an essay? 4. Why should we examine multiple perspectives? 5. What is the scope of your latest essay topic?
These are great questions. I'll be sure to practice them.
Fantastic. Remember, practice makes perfect. For our next lesson, we will delve deeper into essay structure and how to develop supporting arguments.
That sounds exciting. Can't wait to learn more.
Thank you for joining us today. Keep practicing your writing skills.
See you next time, everyone.